Hey guys, so I wanted to do a more personal video and just kind of explain why I've been MIA from YouTube and what's kind of just been going on in my life recently. And I wanted to talk about a few things. As you can see from the title, I wanted to talk about some separation things, being a single mother and co-parenting, as well as moving out of my first place. And then also losing my job, and then some other school related things that are just kind of going on in my life right now. So if you want to hear more details about it, then go ahead. If not, I want to return back to makeup and favorites videos and stuff like that, so that will be coming back on my channel very soon, I promise. But yeah, if you guys want to get to know me a little bit better and see what's going on in my life lately, then I will go into more detail, so just keep watching. Okay, so the main thing and the thing that I get a lot of questions about is co-parenting, being a single mother, and kind of what happens. A lot of you guys know, most of you follow me on Instagram, and that's where I get most of the questions, as well as Snapchat. I haven't talked about it much on YouTube just because I haven't been on YouTube that often, especially recently. But I'll go into a little bit detail. I have a daughter. Her name is Alaska. She's two and a half now, actually. It's crazy to even say that. But yeah, her dad and I were together for about 5, almost 6 years, and we ended up moving in together when we had her, and everything was going fine for a while, but as soon as she came, there was just so much stress and anxiety that came with having a child and not really being completely prepared for it. And I think there was a lot of maturing we still needed to do. That's why I always try to recommend people to wait until you're, emotionally, financially stable, your relationship is stable. Our relationship was very unstable. Um, Even when when I found out I was pregnant, and so it was really difficult when she did come, and we didn't realize how much stress there would be in needing to provide for her as a baby. Of course, that's gotten a lot easier as she's gotten older, but our differences didn't go away. We would butt heads on a lot of really big things, really important things, and it was really hard to find conflict resolution. It wasn't so much the arguments. A lot of the arguments we had were about the smaller things, although there were bigger arguments about more important factors in her life. It was just the fact that we didn't know how to come to a healthy conclusion, and we kept arguing, and then we would argue about our arguments and whatnot. So the bottom line is that it just wasn't healthy. It wasn't healthy for either one of us, and I believe that we brought out sides of each other that were just very nasty. There were parts of me that came out, or there was a version of me that came out that I just didn't like seeing, and he said same for him. So it was just the best decision to end things, even though it took a while, because we had Alaska and we couldn't just stop seeing each other. And it was really difficult in that sense that we had to continue seeing each other even though we had called things off, and then we would say, oh, let's try it again, let's see if things will work, and each time it just proved to us that things were just not working out. And it was really heartbreaking for me because not only was I letting go of this relationship, I was also grieving the dreams that I had for our future together as a family. I think that was the hardest part for me, and I'm still struggling with that, but that was the hardest part when we separated, to let go of those things and maybe envision myself with somebody else in the future, or a life without him, a life parenting Alaska on my own, which is not at all what I had expected going into the pregnancy. The main things that we promised each other, we'd always be there for each other, and it was just really hard to see that come to an end. So, but I am happy to say I'm so much happier, I'm so much healthier now without all of the weight from that relationship. It just makes me, I don't know, I feel like a weight's just been lifted off of my shoulders, and I'm actually really happy being able to parent Alaska on my own. It's definitely not easy. It's very exhausting. I don't have someone to pass her off to when I come home from school, and I don't have anyone to really share the burden with because he only sees her on the weekends, and it's just been really difficult. So parenting her on my own, and she's her living with me, it's definitely very exhausting, but it has a lot of reward. I never thought that I was capable of raising a child, especially on my own, with what I don't know, I guess the way that I viewed myself. I didn't think I was capable, so it's very empowering to to an extent, to think I'm capable of doing all of these things that I never dreamed I would be able to. So there's definitely a positive aspect to that, and just being able to have that bond with her that I don't think I would have had otherwise, knowing that her and I are together and it's just us and we have that relationship, and she loves me so much. She doesn't treat anyone the way that she treats me. Of course, I'm her mother, but still, we're together all of the time. Um, Except when I'm at school and now I'm looking for a job. So I think that that bond is something that I will treasure forever and ever, and it's also why I've decided to wait to put her into school, just because I want to spend a few extra years with her before she goes into school for the next maybe 2 decades of her life. So I want to be able to teach her as much as I can with the values that I hold dear to my heart, before she's exposed to outside factors and whatnot. So that's a really important thing to me. So it hasn't been easy, but it's been possible, and God has provided for me in Alaska time and time again, even when I felt like there was no possible way. So yeah, all glory to God and the community that I have that supports me, and including you guys, of course, and that means so much to me. So another thing, yeah, I did end up losing my house. I was staying in a one-bedroom, it was an in-law unit. It was part of a bigger house, but I had my own private entrance, and it was really nice. I was paying a very reasonable price here in the Bay Area, which is kind of unheard of at this point, which is really discouraging, actually. But that's a whole other story. And I was asked to leave, wasn't really given a specific reason. The landlord just kind of wanted to use the space. I think he wants to remodel it and then eventually maybe rent it out or use it for himself, because I know that I think he recently got married or something like that. He doesn't really talk much. But yeah, so that happened, and for so long I was trying to find a place and nothing was coming up, nothing that was affordable. I looked at a place that was like almost $1,400, and it was like the size of my college dormitory. It was so tiny. It was so small, and I just felt like there was no way I could live there. And I kept feeling so discouraged the more I went to look for houses, or one bedrooms, the units. And I was asked to leave by the end of September, so it was nearing those last few weeks, and I just kept praying about it, and I prayed for confirmation through like a peaceful transition, and then finally I found this really, really great place that's not that far away from my old one, still, of course, in the Bay Area. The price was reasonable, the space was beautiful, it was bigger, it was more spacious. It was more expensive, but I felt like it was worth it. There was even a backyard area for Alaska to play, like a little deck area, so it's really, really nice. And as soon as I walked in and I met the landlord and I checked it out, everything was peaceful from then on. It was just smooth. There were no kinks or issues or anything like that. Everything went smooth, and I ended up getting the place, and I knew that this is something that God had provided for me. But as soon as I moved in, I got laid off from my job. And this is the first job I've ever been at. I worked from home doing digital social media marketing and customer service over the phone and online and through like different social media platforms. And I'm majoring in communications. So it was an amazing opportunity for me to work for this company that I really was so loyal to, and I really loved them. But there were some issues, and I ended up getting laid off, and I was really, really upset at first. I cried and I cried, and I didn't know where I was going to go from here because I'd never had a real job. Sorry, there's a fire truck. I am filming in my car. I'm sorry. I hope everything's okay, though. But yeah, so I ended up getting laid off from this job, and I really felt lost because this is the company that I had worked for ever since I started working at 18, and now I just turned 22, and I had never worked in a actual office or with actual people. I had met my boss and manager and coworkers once when I went to the headquarters to meet them, and that was an amazing experience. But other than that, I really had no like work experience with people face to face. I mean, I have years and years of experience through the work that I had done, but it's almost like entering this new world. So I felt like I was a little bit fearful and almost a little bit just, I don't know, I felt like I was standing in my own way because I felt like, I can't do this, or I was just letting these negative thoughts kind of consume me for a little bit. So I didn't look for jobs, and I was just living off of my savings. And of course, that, that's not going to pan out for a long period of time, especially with a toddler. So I'm on the job hunt, and I have an interview later this week. So I'm looking forward to just finding the perfect position. Again, I know that God will provide, but it's difficult being in this situation at 22. A lot of my friends are in college and they're graduating, or they have already graduated, and I just feel very alone in the sense that I'm a single mother and I'm trying to do everything I can to provide for Alaska. I'm going to school pretty much full time, and now I'm looking for a job. And this isn't where I expected myself to be, but I don't let myself, drown into that pity party of like, oh, why me? Like, this is terrible, this is terrible. But I really try to be as optimistic and positive as possible, the way that I would tell somebody else who is going through the same situation, that it's all going to work out in the end, and the reward is going to be so much greater than the struggle. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard financially. It's really hard emotionally. It's hard physically. I'm exhausted all the time. But I constantly just try to stay in the Word, and I have a really strong faith. It's not great every single day, and sometimes it's really hard to hear what God wants for me or what He has in store for me. And right now, I don't even know what job I'm going to be working at. I know that I need one, though. But the thing about faith is, it's easy to have faith on the days where everything's going good, and you're financially stable, and you got a bonus from work, or you got an A on your paper or something. But it's harder to hold on to that faith when things are falling apart around you and things are just kind of crashing down. So it is really difficult. But I know that people always love to share their victories and their rewards, and they should, but it's harder to talk about the struggles and the difficult times and those really hard seasons of life. But without these really hard seasons of life, I won't be able to celebrate a year or 2 years from now and say I came from that place and I was able to build myself up through God's strength in me and through my, self-sufficiency and working really hard and being a humble person who is passionate about what they do and being, a dedicated mother. So I think that there's a reason for everything, and I hope that it'll all work out, in God's will and in His timing. And I'm just working on being patient and just doing what I know to do. But yeah, so I wanted to share that with you guys. I felt like, not that I owed an explanation, but I want you guys to know more about me. I share a lot on my Snapchat, and you guys see my daily life with Alaska, and I know a lot of you guys love that, but I don't get too personal. A lot of the times I just don't have time to sit down and talk to you guys. Alaska's at the babysitter's right now, and I'm about to go into school. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit snippet of what's been going on in my life, and maybe one day I can come back and just watch this video and say, wow, things are so different from then, and this has changed, and that has changed, and this has progressed, and whatnot. I think that would be really cool. So, yeah, but I do want to get back into YouTube. That's the main reason why I wanted to give you this video about why I've been gone. YouTube is important to me, and I want to continue to grow this channel because you guys are so supportive. And again, like, a lot of you are from my Instagram, and that's my main platform. I try to post like 2 to 3 times a day on Instagram with different makeup looks and stuff like that. And sometimes I do tutorials on Snapchat, but I want to do more on this YouTube channel too. So that's something that I'm going to be more dedicated on doing. So anyway, thank you guys for sticking through with me. Thank you for your support and your love and your kind words. And thank you for watching all the way to the end if you have. That means a lot to me. So I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you guys have a great day. Okay, bye.